Hi, welcome back. It's been a happening year in real estate in 2025, and as we wrap up the year, I thought it would be good to give some insight as to what we can expect for the new launches in 2026. As you can see, our main topic for today is to give an overview of the new launches in 2026, as well as give a ranking for what I feel are the top 3 launches to look out for. So you must be wondering, why is there an image of a dark horse here? And we'll review that later on in the video. As always, my goal in these videos is to provide objective data-driven content that will aid you in your real estate journey. Do remember to subscribe if you find my content useful. I've also left my contact here if you would like to reach out for more information. Before we touch on the main topic of the video, I thought it would be good to give a quick overview of the launches in 2025. In the first quarter, we got started with projects in the OCR such as Orel, EC, Parktown Residences, and also Lentor Central. All started hot and selling about 90% or more after the initial launch. So as we started the second half of 2025, the focus was on the launches closer to town and in the CCR, such as Promenade Peak, which sold more than half of the units on launch day. We also saw Wing Tai sell 88% of River Green, which was an impressive feat. The momentum carried on with CDL selling 84% of Zion Grand on launch day. The strong momentum carried on further with all the disappointed buyers who did not manage to secure units at these launches try their luck at Sky at Holland and also Penrith, which both sold 99% as well as 97% on launch, almost selling out. After the frenzy, we had one more launch for the year at The Sand at Upper Bukit Timah. However, as you can see, the launch result was pretty muted at only 23% of the units sold on launch day. A lot of the buyers were wondering, was this poor result due to fatigue in new launches, or did they feel that launches were getting overpriced? Also, is this a signal for things to come in 2026, and will launches move slowly in 2026 as well? So here is a summarized map showing most of the launches that will be happening in 2026, along with some of the important information such as their land acquisition prices. If you would like a copy of the report, do feel free to DM me and I'll be happy to send to you. So the big question many clients have been asking, with prices so high now, are there still good value launches to consider, or will things start to slow down in 2026? So this will be the summary of today's video. Firstly, we will go through the basis and criteria for which we are ranking the launches on. Secondly, we'll go through one by one on the launches happening in the respective regions. Next, I will run through the top 3 launches that I believe will be the best to consider, after which I'll review the Dark Horse project, one that I believe will be a good investment in the medium to long term, but it may not be the most obvious choice at first glance, so do watch till the end of the video to find out. So now we go through the 3 main criteria for ranking launches. The first would be the land cost for the project. In other words, this is the land acquisition cost per square foot average that the developer paid to purchase the land plot. This is important because we can use this to determine the developer's break-even pricing to develop this plot of land and ultimately have an educated guess on what they will eventually sell at. An example here would be Norwood Grand, where the developer purchased the land for 904 PSF per plot ratio in September 2023. With the break-even PSF estimated at about 1687 PSF, we use this break-even price to calculate how much they might sell at based on the following profit margin. And in the end, the average transacted PSF at 2063 PSF on average was pretty accurate based on the initial calculations. So the second criteria will be the typical location attributes such as the proximity to things such as amenities, transport, and also schools. And the third criteria we will be using are the project attributes. For the purpose of this video, we will only review projects that have more than 200 units, have a land size of at least 50,000 square feet, and also we'll look at the developer profile and only include private launches and no ECs. So now we'll go through the launches in 2026 project map, and for easier understanding, we shall go through by the respective regions. We will first go through the North-Northeast region. Based on the criteria, the ones that we will go through are the launches in Chuan Grove and also Thomson View, as well as Lentor Gardens, Upper Thomson Road Parcel A, and also Chencharu Close. There's also a new one that we just added in, which is the plot at Hougang Central, won by Capital Land and UOL. This is an interesting plot which many people have been awaiting, so I'll touch on that shortly. The first launch we will go through is at Chuan Grove. There were actually two parcels that were awarded, and they are next to each other actually. And the interesting thing is that they were both won by the same developer, which is Sing Holdings, which the developer even considered amalgamating both land plots to sell as a single plot. In terms of the location, it's in the OCR locality. It is largely a residential estate with not too many amenities. But the good thing is that Lorong Chuan MRT is within a few minutes walk away. The new tech park is also just next door, which has some restaurants. I would say that the factor that caused a stir was the land bid pricing at 1376 PSF per plot ratio, which many people felt was a high price in this area. After we factor in their break-even costs, these two plots could potentially be selling at an average of 2007 to even 3000 PSF. Chuan Park recently launched in this area and sold pretty well, and generally at a lower PSF. So there's a good chance that at this price point, these Chuan Grove plots will take longer to move. The next one is a highly anticipated one. This is the en bloc at Thomson View. Thomson is traditionally a popular area, a very cozy, low-density residential estate with lots of nature parks nearby. Also with a lot of good food around. This is also a huge plot of land at about 500,000 square feet in terms of the land size, which has a lot of potential for nice landscaping and facilities. It is also located in the RCR, which is City Fringe. With UOL and CapitaLand backing this, I believe they will do a great job with the planning of the project. The land price was acquired at 1178 PSF per plot ratio, which looks low on paper for such a location. But do take note that this may not include other costs such as the en bloc of the land and also the demolition costs. This is an estimation of the selling price of the development, but in reality, I believe we have to prepare for an average of about 2007 to even 2900 PSF. Next up, we have the Lentor Gardens plot by Kingsford. Honestly, I cannot really say I'm too excited about this plot. This is because this is the 7th plot launching here in the last 4 years or so. We previously have the likes of Hillock Green, Lentor Modern, Lentor Hills, Lentor Mansion, Lentoria, so on and so forth. This plot will also have the furthest walk to the MRT compared to the other plots, which is less ideal. But I would say the land cost here is pretty low compared to the rest at 920 PSF per plot ratio. So if you're looking for an affordable launch, this would be one to look at. Next, we have the upcoming plot at Upper Thomson Road Parcel A. This is the one next to Springleaf MRT and also next to Springleaf Residence that sold exceptionally well this year. But again, I don't think I'm too excited about this one. There's really nothing much in Springleaf other than the fact that it's next to the MRT with some major eateries like the Springleaf Prata opposite. Perhaps buyers who bought Springleaf Residence will be happy given that this plot was purchased at 1062 PSF per plot ratio. And this would mean that the Parcel A will likely be selling at a higher price than Springleaf Residence, which was purchased at 779 PSF per plot ratio. We will now discuss the land plot at Chencharu Close. To be honest, when this land plot launched, I had no idea where this place was. So it looks like this is one of the first few launches in this area that is near to the Khatib MRT. Despite the location being quite ulu, I would say, I think this will be an interesting one given that there hasn't been many projects here. I would just be wary as the land was acquired at 980 PSF per plot ratio and they are likely to be selling above 2000 PSF. Okay, at this price point for the locality, this project is not likely to move very fast in my opinion. So the last one we will review in this area is one that we have all been waiting for, which is the Hougang plot. At Hougang Central. This is the land plot that probably all the people staying at Florence Residences have been waiting for further price appreciation of their development. This plot has been so highly anticipated because this is a huge land plot with 500,000 square feet in terms of the land size. The key attraction is that it is an integrated project with commercial shops. It will also be the future interchange with the Cross Island line, and which will be quite a game changer. Based on the land price of 1179 PSF per plot ratio, we are likely to see this Hougang project selling at 2,500 PSF on average. If you have learned from the success of Parktown Residence, Singaporeans really do love their convenience. So despite the high price, this project could still fare well. Now we will go through the launches in the central area. We will discuss the plots at Telok Blangah, Dorset Road, River Modern, Holland Link, and also Dunyan Road. There's also one of the later one that came up. There was this plot at Bukit Timah Road that was purchased at 1820 PSF per plot ratio by HH Investment. This is right at Newton MRT, which actually caused a huge stir, which later I'll be sharing on. The first one we'll go through is the plot at Telok Blangah, won by Kingsford. So this will be an interesting one as it is the first private residential plot launching in the new Berlaya estate in the former Keppel Club. Of course, residents here will reap the benefits of the greater southern waterfront transformation and also being the first mover in this area. The land price was at 1326 PSF per plot ratio, okay, which is actually pretty good value given the prime location. And this could translate to a selling price of 26 to even 29 PSF on average. So in general, this project will probably fare pretty well, but we will see. Next, we have this residential plot at Dorset Road, won by United Venture Development. I would say that objectively, the location of this project is great over here, which is near Farrer Park, MRT, and is also so close to town as well as the CBD. But in reality, Farrer Park, as of now, is not a place that most Singaporeans will naturally think of for their own stay. But with the government planning transformation in Farrer Park in the upcoming years, with most BTOs coming as well, this will probably help to enhance the livability of the area. The land price at 1338 PSF per plot ratio is fair given the location and also the estimated selling price. I predict the sales will fare better than average, so we will likely be looking at around 27 to 28 PSF considering the nearby Piccadilly Grand has already fared really well during launch and also in the current subsale market. So next up, we have River Modern. If you have been following the River Valley launches so far, this launch should be in your radar. In terms of the location, most buyers have said that this is the most prime out of the plots they have launched so far. River Modern is located in District 9. Okay, unlike Promenade Peak and also Zion Grand, which are located in District 3. The location has everything. It is close to Great World MRT, also Great World City, Riverside Food Centre, Robertson Quay, the Singapore River, and also many of the good schools. So based on their land price of 1420 PSF per plot ratio, we could see the project averaging above 3000 PSF. So based on the success of the other nearby launches, I do think that given the strategic land plot, this project should sell really well. So the next project is an interesting one. Simlam won this bid with an aggressive land bid at 1432 PSF per plot ratio. It is considered high relative to the land bid won at Sky at Holland at over 1200 PSF per plot ratio in a similar location. This will be the first project launching in the Old Holland Road vicinity. And it is a nice, tranquil residential enclave. However, accessibility could be an issue as it is quite far away from the closest MRT station, which is King Albert Park. However, it is likely that most of the people here will actually drive. So the key winning factor is that it is within close vicinity to MGS, which is one of the top schools. So this launch should fare moderately well. Continuing the Bukit Timah series, we have a plot won by Frasers at Dunyan Road. This project will appeal to those who want to stay in the 6th Avenue address, also being near to the MRT. It is also the first few launches coming within the Turf Club area, which will be interesting. Based on the estimated selling price of 2008 to 3000 PSF, I believe the fans of this area will eventually come in. But the big question is, with this being a popular area for freehold lovers, will buyers be willing to pay this price for leasehold? We shall see eventually. The last central project we'll discuss is the one that caused a massive stir. This was a land bid won by HH Investments, securing a prime plot right behind Newton MRT. Okay, and this project will naturally draw interest because of its proximity to town and also to Newton MRT. But the key driver will be that it is within the proximity of popular schools such as ACS and SCGS. This land bid blew the scale of expectations, being won at a very high price of 1820 PSF per plot ratio, in my opinion. So will buyers be willing to pay, let's say, about 3005 to even 3007 PSF for leasehold in this area? So my initial thoughts are, it will take time for this price to be absorbed for this area. So I do believe that this project will move slower than expected. Okay, so we are done with the central projects. Now let's head to the west. We'll discuss about the launches at Medial Circle, Tengah Garden, Lakeside, okay, Nara Residence at Dairy Farm. The first west side project we'll discuss is at Media Circle Parcel A. Honestly, there is nothing too exciting about this one, I feel, since Bloomsbury Residences, which already launched, is just next door. This project is not near MRT by any means, and is largely in the vicinity of office buildings. So this project will appeal to people who are more skilled for investment, or if they really like to stay in a very tranquil and quiet location. So one highlight of this project is the fact that it has the same developer who won the plot at Bloomsbury, which is Qingjian Realty. Okay, they actually won this plot at 1037 PSF per plot ratio, which is actually lower than Bloomsbury, which was bought at 1191 PSF per plot ratio. But whether they decide to sell lower than Bloomsbury is another story, since the same developer won the bid. It is also unlikely that they will want to lower the pricing of this new plot to actually support the prices for Bloomsbury also in this location. However, it does present an opportunity in the event that the developer decide to launch at a softer price range. Next up, we go for the west to Tengah. So the developer profile looks really good, with Hong Leong and Gokoland leading the project. Location-wise, it is next to the upcoming Hongka MRT, but at this point, there are not too many amenities surrounding the project, as Tengah is still developing. Yeah. The developer won this land at only 821 PSF per plot ratio, which means they could launch at a starting price of even at 1,900 PSF. So actually, if you look at the recent EC launches, this is actually pretty comparable lah. So I do feel that there's actually good value in the market if you look at this particular project. Now we go to Lakeside, with CDL winning the bid at Lakeside Drive, which will be a mixed development with both residential as well as commercial on the first story. A lot of West Side fans have been eagerly anticipating this one, especially being right next to the MRT station at Lakeside. Being next to the Jurong Lake Gardens is also a very big plus point, as well as having Rulang Primary within the 1 km vicinity. The land price at 1131 PSF per plot ratio also doesn't look too overpriced. So if they do sell starting from, let's say, about 2-3 PSF, this developer should sell fairly well. We shall now discuss Nara Residences at Dairy Farm, which will be launching really soon. This is a project that will largely appeal to the fans of the Upper Bukit Timah area or the Dairy Farm vicinity. The appeal lies mostly with the nature surrounding. It is not close to MRT, so transport arrangements have to be managed, especially for families with children. This is also the third launch there being in the last few years, the last being the Botany and also Dairy Farm Residences. So at the estimated selling price of 2,200 PSF on average, given that there's been a fair supply of launches here recently, this project may expect some slow movement in the initial phase. Now we are done with the west side projects. Now we will discuss the east side developments with the Bayshore plot, Binary Residences, as well as the Bedok Rise plot under review. So this plot at Bayshore is a blockbuster level for east side lovers. Ever since this land plot was won by Singhai, we have been getting continuous inquiries regarding this project. This plot has been so raved about for a few reasons. Firstly, it is the first project to launch within the new Bayshore estate. Here. Okay. And next is just right next to the MRT station. And thirdly, there has not been any new launch here ever since the highly successful Seaside Residences. Honestly, the land bid price here is on the higher side at 1388 PSF per plot ratio. The estimated selling price is likely to be on an average of about 27 to even 3,000 PSF. Is this price high? Maybe at first glance, but honestly, most east side lovers will still throw their checks here for the chance of getting a unit here, in my opinion. Now, on to a launch towards the Tampines side of the east. Binary Residences by Hoi Hub will be launching, and the location looks pretty good. Okay, in fact, it's very, very close, just down the road from Tampines West MRT on the downtown line. Although there is no big mall nearby, there is a Safra Tampines, okay, for some eateries, and also the Bedok Reservoir, which is towards this side, which is also in close proximity, which is good for, like, let's say, evening walks. The land price was at 1004 PSF per plot ratio, so we should see prices starting from 2000 PSF or thereabouts. So this price point is still quite accessible, and given its proximity to the MRT station, this project should sell pretty well. This land bid by All Green for Bedok Rise has caused a big stir. Mainly this was due to the land bid at 1330 PSF per plot ratio. Just for reference, this land bid is even higher than the River Valley launches such as Zion Grand and also Promenade Peak. It is close to Tanah Merah MRT. In fact, it's just across the road. Okay, which is a big plus point. But this project faces a lot of resale competition from the neighboring projects because we already have a lot of existing condos such as like Grandeur Park, Urban Vista, Optima, Glades, so on and so forth. So based on their estimated selling price at, say, starting from even 2,600 PSF, this project is likely to sell slow initially because the existing resale condos here are priced way lower. So we have come to the end of the run-through for all the projects. So if you've watched till here, I am very appreciative. Now we'll touch on what we have been waiting for, which is my verdict on the top 3 launches for 2026. So in third place, we have River Modern. As mentioned earlier, this project has everything. The District 9 address, CCR locality, amenities, good schools nearby, and also the MRT just close by. So this will be the 4th project launching around the Great World in the past year. There aren't too many choices with balanced units for the projects already launched. So with River Green already almost 92% sold, okay, Promenade Peak 66%, and also Zion Grand 86% sold, which most of the inventory units here have already been taken up since launch day. But the advantage of these projects having launched first is that we can spot the data and trends for the transactions in this area. We can see that Promenade Peak sold at an average of about close to 3,000 PSF and as high as even 3,500 PSF. So for River Green, it was sold at an average of about 3,100 PSF and up to as high as close to 3,600 PSF. And for Zion Grand, the average was sold at 3,000 PSF up to as high as even 3,900 PSF because this is a very tall project up to 62 stories high. So what does this tell us? It gives us an indication of what kind of pricing buyers in this location are willing to accept and have already accepted. With the likes of Promenade Peak and River Green hitting up to 3,500 PSF, Zion Grand going up to even 3,900 PSF, if you are able to get a decent ballot number for River Modern and snag a unit at, let's say, even 2,009 starting from up to even 3,200 PSF, I reckon this will be a good safe entry price with a good price gap compared to the neighboring launches which have already launched. But of course, the devil is in the details. If you look at the balanced units at Promenade Peak and Zion Grand, we do notice some commonalities. Firstly, the larger units, like the 3 and 4 bedrooms, have a good take-up rate. But we do see quite a number of balanced units for the smaller size units, the 1 and 2 bedrooms, and also even the 2+ studies. So both Zion Grand and Promenade Peak do have around half of their inventory still available for the 1 bedroom. So this gives us an indication that perhaps there is a slight oversupply of 1 and 2 bedroom units in this vicinity. So for River Modern in particular, I would perhaps focus more on the larger format for 2 bedrooms as well as the family size units such as the 3 and 4 bedrooms. So if you can get your hands on them, I think it's really very lucky lah. So in second place, we have none other than the GLS at Bayshore. Okay, the one that all the East Side lovers have been waiting for. In short, the East Coast has always been a highly desirable location for both own stay and investment. The last wave of launches were in District 15, and we saw the complete wipeout of projects like Emerald of Katong, 100% sold, and now projects such as like Grand Diamond, Continuum, and also Tembusu Grand only have a small balance of units left. So with no other decent plots left, this bid at Bayshore ignited interest again in the East Coast area. And with the government having grand plans for the area, planning up to 10,000 homes in Bayshore in the coming years. This Bayshore project will be great to enter from a first mover perspective, especially given that it is right next to Bayshore MRT. The Thomson East Coast line especially is a game changer for the area, now with a direct access to go to the CBD and also town area. The last major launch in D15 was Seaside Residence, okay, which I thought would be a good case study to bring up because they are also seafronting and also in close proximity. We can see a positive trend with 100% of the owners making profits here with no one losing money. Over here, you can see some owners make capital gains up to as high as close to even 1.3 million. We can even see that the PSF here has reached up to 2,700 PSF, which is a new high since the project reached TOP a few years ago. So if the Bayshore GLS indeed range from, let's say, even 2.7 to 2,900 BSF, a buyer can be fairly comforted knowing that there have already been existing buyers here willing to pay this kind of similar price point for a resale older project. Now on to first place, where we have Thomson View. In general, I felt that this location has all the ingredients for a winning project. It is close to the Upper Thomson MRT and has Ai Tong Primary in close proximity. There's also not been a major launch in this area since Jadescape, which was more than 5 years ago, which is why I thought it would be apt to bring Jadescape up as a case study. I feel that these two projects have similar qualities, being close to the MRT. Okay, Jadescape is here, it's close to Marymount MRT, and in the Thomson vicinity, and having a big land size, which is popular for families looking for good facilities as well as landscaping. So far in the last 2 years, in the resale market, Jadescape has been transacting at an average of about 2229 PSF, going up to as high as even 2620 PSF. We can also see a good track record where 100% of the owners here all have made money, with no one selling at a loss. So owners here have made more than 1 million profits, and there's even one particular owner, I think it's the penthouse unit, made a ripping profit of 4.35 million. So if Thomson View does range from 26 to 29 PSF, there is indeed some price support from Jadescape as a resale older project transacting at a similar price point. Also, if the Chuan Grove launches sell at a similar price point, Thomson View will look like a great value because it is RCR and City Fringe. Now to our last segment, which is the Dark Horse project. After much deliberation, I do believe that the Tengah plot is one that will prove to perform well, yet it will not be so looked out during initial launch. This will be the first private residential project to launch in this area, which will have the first mover advantage. So the key driver is that Tengah is an area of transformation and is one of the key pillars of the development of the Jurong Lake District and also the Jurong Innovation District. So much so that the residents here are eagerly awaiting the completion of the Jurong Regional Line. Residents of the Tengah GLS will definitely enjoy being right next to Hong Kong MRT. So this story unfolding at this Tengah GLS does remind me of a condo not too far away, and that is a tree house at Dairy Farm. 10 years or so ago, Treehouse was the first residential project to launch in this vicinity. So at that point in time, there's actually nothing much in Dairy Farm. It's not close to any MRT or amenities, and everything is quite far away. It's considered quite ulu. But those who invested early proved to make a smart choice, as the value entry price was eventually pushed up when the next few surrounding launches sold at a much higher price, such as Dairy Farm, Residences, Botany, Eco Sanctuary, so on and so forth. So will this Tengah GLS prove to have the same success as the first mover in the area? Only time will tell, but I am hopeful. And this Tengah plot was also won at a surprisingly low land bid price of 821 PSF per plot ratio. This price is actually close to EC pricing, with the Senja plot having been bidded at 771 PSF per plot ratio, just a 6% price gap between the EC and also private within the close by vicinity. So when the Tengah plot launches, buyer will stand to own a private property at EC pricing, which is a very attractive proposition. To summarize, these are our top 3 picks for new launches for 2026, as well as our Dark Horse project that should be under the radar for most buyers initially. We have now come to the end of our video. It was a long one, but I hope you found it informative and useful. If you have any queries regarding the upcoming launches and need an opinion, my contact is here. So do feel free to reach out, and do remember to like and subscribe. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.